Shalom. I hope you are doing well today. And I want to just touch base with my followers, seeking Yahusha, seeking the day of his return, and check in, say, where are we at? How are we doing? And what he has revealed to us, the knowledge he's bestowed upon us. How are you doing with what you've attained? How are you doing with what you've attained? And are you ready to build further on what you've attained? Because I really believe that Yahusha is ready to teach. He's ready to take you further than you've been with him before. Um, but I've been personally making sure that I have a good balanced foundation, um, so that I can grow upon it, right? Even like in life, I have gone through a detour from a career, and I take an avenue back towards working in social work and expecting a new opportunity to continue to grow, to continue to um, be on the avenue which I set foot 10 years ago, when I went to college. And it excites me because what I chose back then with sincerity and with devotion, with intention, I still choose today. And so that's a good feeling that I have that. So I know going from here is only a matter of time. And I have some verses to read as we talk about building upon our foundation, um, and what it takes and where we're ultimately building, um, in the long term is in the kingdom. So let's go ahead and read a little bit of scripture. Woo. Um, I cover my head when I read the scriptures to honor the head of the church and um the body of him, as head is the head of every woman. We cover our head to show honor to the head of the church, who's Yahusha. So starting in Luke 11, we're going to read the extended version of this parable. And he said unto them, which of you shall have a friend, and shall go unto him at midnight, and say unto him, Friend, lend me 3 loaves, for a friend of mine in his journey is come to me, and I have nothing to set before him. And he said within shall answer and say, Trouble me not, door is shut, and my children are with me in bed. I cannot rise and give thee. I say unto you, though he will not rise and give him, because he is his friend, yet because of his importunity, he will rise and give him as much as he needeth. So again, it says, And I say unto you, ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. For everyone that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth, and to him that knocketh shall be opened. So if a man goes and knocks for bread, right? And the man doesn't come to the door, he doesn't open the door, he isn't giving you the favor that you've asked. He's saying, ask again, show him the opportunity that this is important to you. And see then if you don't get an open door. It says very similar. It's in Matthew 7, verse 7. So we got a 7 and another 7. Ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and you shall find. Knock, and it shall be open unto you. So we're not, in this case, going to our neighbor, right? which we do have to express the importance of opportunities when one window is closed, another door opens. We have to show how important and valuable these open doors are to us in life. But ultimately, we go to the door of heaven. We say, when we ask, and but he says, okay, so if you're asking me for something, who on earth do you have to ask? Because what he does in heaven, so shall it be in earth, and so we have to remember the order of things, right? And so, verse 8 says, for everyone that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth, and to him that knocketh it shall be opened. So I'm like into the Dodge search, right? And I'm believing, I'm going to receive, I'm going to find, it's going to be open to me. I'm actually waiting for an open door here this afternoon. We're going to see, how I'm going to set up my next week. I've been diligent with this past week, the week before that, and seeing, am I going to be able to set up an interview next week? But I am in this good fight. And remember, the ultimate door is Revelation 3, verse 8. It says, I know thy works. Behold, I have set before thee an open door, and no man can shut it. For thou hast a little strength and hast kept my word and hast not denied my name. So sometimes it feels impossible. But that door, where he says, I am the way, the truth, and the light. No one can come to the Father except by me. When he is the door and he's giving us the door, he's showing us the gate. To when he comes and the bridegroom opens the door, like we talked about a couple weeks ago, when he opens that door and then we enter in. That's what we want, is we want to enter in when he opens that final door at the end of the race, though we have had little strength and things have felt nearly impossible for us in life. But we've found a way, we've entered in. And that's how we should be knocking so earnestly for him, right? Seeking him. And he showed me a beautiful dream this past weekend. I've desired to gather on my 70th birthday or so forth on Mount of Olives. I want to go there. I want to scream on the hilltops and say, come, Yahusha. Lord of Lords, King of Kings. I'd love to gather there with flights of planes of congregations. I think that would be fun. But he hasn't opened that door, even to his appearing to everyone. We learned that in the parable of the bridesmaids. And so if you have had an open heart to him, and he's knocked on the door of your heart. You've knocked on the door of his, and he's opened himself up to you, and you're walking in that covenantal relationship with him, and you're expressing your love to him by following his ways, by following his paths, by continuing to be guided by his light, then, he wants to continue to unfold, to continue to reveal, to continue to teach you before his arrival so that you can be ready. But he's saying, what have you learned this far? And how are you doing? Or how are you stewarding what you've learned? When it comes to diet, have you gone back and looked to see what you can change? What, the last thing that he's revealed to me is to change my diet. And have I completely been able to embrace that as of yet? My full 3 meals a day, every day? No, I haven't. So I'm still working on that step, the thing that he's revealed to me last. So I can be diligent, that steward, that what do I need? Well, I need the grocery money, I need the finance, I need this, that, whatever. good routines to go with my greens. And I'm looking to when I inherit a little bit more wealth, to get a little bit more control over the last thing that he's instilled to me, as far as my diet, and spending those extra dollars on the farm rather than on the quick protein, you know and, yeah, so it's a delight. It's a, wonderful thing to get to obey him. When we obey him, he can, um, he can further permeate himself to us. He can further reveal things to us. And that's what it is for me, but he's ready to teach more, to bring us in closer. And he's showing me even those that want to gather, we can do it online. We're gathering spiritually as unto him, um, in the privacy of our own homes and spaces. And he will continue to reveal as we seek him, as we knock, as we ask. So with that, I leave you to a Shabbat, a wonderful weekend, and give everyone some hugs and love. Have a good rest of your weekend, and I will see you next week, Lord willing. One more thing. So, love and hugs. That was a saying of my grandmother's. Um, and she actually died last year on my birthday, March 7th. Um, and so, you know, um, I'm not trying to spiritualize this at all. I'm just relaying how important she was to me. And grieving her took time. Um, there was a sense of fulfillment that I felt, um, through her transition as she passed, a wonderful life fulfilled, fulfilled to the best of her ability, to the most, just the way that she lived, was with so much, um, intention, so much energy, so much, um, love and devotion. Um, she was a social butterfly, and I learned from her. It took some time, but she made everyone feel so important, and that's what my dad said at her funeral last year. Um, and I think that that's really what stood out to me about her, as well as just how important she made you feel. But not just that, the connection that I truly had with her. I had a very strong connection with her. And then that being so confirmed to me, when she died on my birthday, and so it was like this beautiful release, um, and I am not saying that I try to live on for her in any means. I was just one, granddaughter of many that she had, and nonetheless, my connection with her was special. Um, and I find that my grandmother was one of the more special people to me, um, than many of the lives of others that have traveled, the earth in my time, and in my, bloodline, right? Um, there was something so special about my grandmother, and my other cousins would attest to this as well. And it hit some of them harder than it did me. They maybe paid more visits or more phone calls. Nonetheless, my grandmother is very special to me, and that grief, it does hit. It hits the heart. Um, and some people might say, well, how would you celebrate, um, her passing on your birthday, And I said, well, that doesn't change. That doesn't take a good day into a bad day. I celebrate her life. I still grieve her absence of life, but I I remember her and I'm blessed by the person that she was and her memory um and the part of me that she changed continues to live on. The part of me that she bettered, the part of me that learns from her, lives on, and not just in me, but it was multiplied by all the seeds that she sowed throughout her life and her grandchildren, and um, being that smiling face and being that warm embrace. She really did a lot for our family. And, the only other time I've really, really experienced grief was like in high school or so. And it was like a breakup, and that type of breakup in that vulnerable time of my life felt like a heavy, heavy separation, right? And why do I bring up separation and grief and loss? It's because, I've learned resilience. I've learned um, persistence. I've learned incessantness. I've learned um, continuousness. I've learned the importance of human relationship, and I've learned how hard it can be, how heartbreak can feel um, at the loss of someone. And I've learned um, what it's like in the absence of that life, but I've also learned what it's like when that life still exists here, and it's by choice that you can't continue um, connecting. You can't continue stewarding that relationship, fostering that relationship. Um, and which one hurts the most? They both hurt. The absence, the inability to connect hurts, but on the other hand, the heartbreak of um, having life that still lives here, still exists here, but feels untouchable, unreachable. That that can really hurt too. From that person's decision or whatever it might be. Um, And I've learned that love can surpass it all. Love can surpass death. That love, still lives in you, still abides in you. It continues with you. It carries you. And love also um, of an individual, um, inaccessible or unwilling to have a mutual companionship, whatever whatever that can get in the way of valuing that human relationship. I have found that love surpasses it, and love is worth holding on to and to allow to continue um, and persist. And it doesn't always have to be through connection, but it can be through cherishment. And so, um, when it comes to those that I've found, I come understand this. I come from a place of first being very broken, understanding what something ripped away has felt like, um, and then to value human relationship that much more after um, those scars had, taken mark upon my own heart. Um, learning that resilience to fight for the human relationships that you value and that you want to continue to cherish and live on, and that you desire to be a part of your life through whatever extent, and not allowing anything to sever um, you know that human relationship. And human relationships are the value and importance of human relationships are one of the social work code of ethics. So, I started off talking about my professional journey, and it's a part of my devotion, even in social work, to value the importance of the human relationship. So these were my words that I wanted to share in their entirety. And yes, I hope that they bless you and you get some rest this weekend. Thank you for being here and spending your time.